Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
Cut it. Cut it. Cut! I said you were supposed to be going into a trance, not an orgasm. Let's try it again with a little more restraint this time. That's today's secret word. Restraint!
This is episode 228, recorded November 6th, 2024.
Gruesome Magazine.
I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host and I will take a look at another classic, or not so classic, film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm still on the green side of dirt.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's good.
That's what I thought.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
All right. I wish I had a good comeback. All right. Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, all around nice guy, and published author. You do this every episode, Bill. Have the book ready.
Well, the people need to know what to expect. It's a running gag. That's Rom. Anyway, I am also not dead. So all things considered, we're so far we're good. But check with Chad. He was looking a little pale.
Well, the night is early. So
yeah.
All right. Also joining us tonight is Chad Hunt, comic book artist, co-host Decades of Horror, the classic era and the 80s, and fan of Marvel Comics and wears a Batman hat. How you doing, sir?
Well, I haven't choked any John Carradines today, so.
Is that a euphemism?
Don't you dare.
Wow.
I give up. This is a tough crowd.
Yeah, my God. Yeah.
I walked in the room and Chad was choking the John Carradine, if you know what I mean.
What do we do now? All right. What we're going to do tonight is we're reviewing the movie House of Seven Corpses, from 1974. Corpses.
Get out south. Corpses.
Dead bodies. John Carradines. All right. But before we get into all that nonsense, I'm going to turn my phone off while Jeff tells us about Play Now Media.
Answer the door.
Oh, England's calling.
Yes, we are partnering with Play Now Media, and all of our video episodes are on their Wicked Horror TV channel. They have somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 channels or apps, and they're adding all along. So check them out, and they have upgraded their apps. They're looking very good. Wicked Horror TV has classic era and 80s on it, and then their classic sci-fi movie channel and classic horror movie channel have the classic era episodes on them. So check us out and check them out. And they got a pretty good setup.
All right. Getting to our review of House of Seven Corpses from 1974, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give you our first impression of the film, whether we saw it back in 74 or if we saw it 74 minutes ago, or maybe last week. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, and then we'll get into a discussion about the film and then wrap up with some feedback. We got some feedback, right, Jeff?
We do.
Excellent. We love feedback. So what do you say, guys? You want to just dive into it? Get things going? All right.
It's not going to podcast itself.
Well, the way I'm acting, you kind of wish it did. All right, Seven Houses of Corpses from 1974. We're just going to change the title. I'm going to make it a new one. No, it's A House of Seven Corpses from 1974. It's directed by Paul Harrison, written by Paul Harrison and Thomas J. Kelly. The cast includes John Ireland, Faith Domergue. What did you say it was? Dermogue? There was all like three. Demure. John Carradine.
Kawiki Dink.
Charles McCulley, Jerry Strickler, Ron Foreman, Dennis Record, Marty Hornstein, maybe it's Hornstein, and Wells Bond. The production company is Television Corporation of America. The filming locations are Salt Lake City, Utah. Filming dates started September 25th, 1972. It was released February of 1974. It's also known as, Jeff,
Beschworen.
Incantation in Germany. All right. The synopsis. The cast of a movie inadvertently summons a ghoul when they reenact rituals when filming in a house where 7 occult-related murders occurred. Ghoulish shenanigans ensue.
Shenanigans.
Them shenanigans. All right. Who picked this wonderful, wonderful movie?
Me.
Chad Hun picked this movie. This is interesting. I'll be very interested to hear what you all think of this. So we'll start off with you, Chad. When did you first see this movie? What was your first impression of it? And does it hold up today?
Well, it holds up since a couple of days ago.
No,
which I just saw it. I picked this movie because I just happened to see it on Tubi or someone at one of those stations as I was scrolling through looking for horror movies. So having never seen it before, I said it's got John Carradine in it and might be worth a shot here. And I was disappointed that the first murder comes after almost an hour of nothing happening, and then it's at that point it's just the cat got killed. It's still, so they're
just
I protest.
Take it up with John Carradine.
Yeah.
For the story, the synopsis, when I read the synopsis, sounded interesting. They're shooting a movie in this house and shenanigans ensue, right? But doggone it, you just can't read a Tibetan Book of the Dead or any other book like that anymore without summoning some kind of supernatural shenanigans. Start ensuing. Yeah. Yep. And sure enough, that's what happens here. And it looks like that zombie kid from the Bette Midler witch movie. It's trying to kill everybody near the end.
But nowhere near as good.
Nowhere near as good. John Carradine is pretty much wasted in this film, I think. He could have had a bigger part of the things going on, but so I had a problem with that, really, because it had a lot of scenes in there where you just know that he came in for the day and filmed everything in 1 day, 1 or 2 days. Especially him sitting at the chair in the end, and he goes, "Did I hear something? Did I hear something out there?" And it just and you just know that he came in for a day shoot or whatever and filmed all his parts. But it was I enjoyed his parts that were in it. I mean, John Carradine's John Carradine. It was pretty cool, but the rest of it just fell apart. It felt like it was trying so hard to be a Hammer type film, and it wasn't working at all. I didn't like the characters. The only one I think that did a good job acting was the blonde. Did a pretty good job acting. And there was a lot of things that I did not understand why they were happening. So I'll just leave it at that, and we'll cover it during the podcast, I guess. But I don't know. I was bored. So
bored. Sounds like it might have been a mess.
A what?
A mess.
It was a mess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a scrambled egg mess.
Nair. Okay. Bill Mulligan, sir. Thank you, Chad. Bill, when did you first see this film? What was your first impression? Does it hold up?
I saw it yesterday.
Ah.
Yep. Yeah, kind of been dawdling on stuff. No, the day before yesterday. Yesterday I was busy. But so it feels older. It feels like an older movie. It's got a good premise, like Chad said, a good premise. A bunch of filmmakers filming a monster movie, horror movie. The problem is, if you've ever actually been on a horror movie set, it's not the most exciting thing. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. And that part, that came through because it wasn't super exciting. The movie that they're shooting looks really god awful, even worse than this one. So that kind of counts against it. I mean, if you're going to do a movie within a movie, make the movie within a movie worth your while. I don't know why this jerk director is so hot on making this movie. Like this is really important to him because it doesn't look good. And then, the zombie sort of shows up like they realize this isn't working. There's not a scare to be found in this film. Let's bring out our old tried and true zombie. And the zombie shows up. He's a slow zombie, but he's not so slow that he can't catch and kill every single one of these people who just when they see a zombie are paralyzed with fear when they could be not running, just walking at a brisk pace would get them out of trouble. Toot sweet, but no, they all get killed. And there's a few parts I didn't quite understand. And so it doesn't quite work, but it's got a cool cast. I love John Carradine. This is one of those, he shows up for a day, does his lines, gets paid, and goes home. And that was pretty much, when we do the slide, I've got a bunch of movies that he was making around that time. And that's, like Shockwaves. I doubt that he spent more than a day or two filming Shockwaves. He's fun in it, but you don't see much. I guess that's all they could afford, or that's all he was willing to give. At that point, he was, just sort of hacking out these little bit roles and making a living at it. Maybe his arthritis was just too much to work for any more than a couple days. The lead, Ireland, is a cool actor. I like Faith. I love the movie she's in. So occasionally this movie looks good, well filmed, good color. If you find a good copy, there's some bad copies out there and there's a couple of good ones. It looks good. And then other times it looks really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, they run out of money, or did they, they could only get the good cameraman for certain days. Yeah, I see what you're saying. There are some times it looks like they're trying to do Hammer, but that ain't happening. So I don't know. I feel like if I saw this movie as a kid, I'd have really fond memories of it and I'd like it a lot more. But watching it now, it just did not really engage me that much. But I can see where for some people this would be kind of a cult classic if you saw it at the right time. The zombie's kind of scary looking and there's some cool shots and everything with that. But it comes way too late. You're right. It's a lot of yap. People, no one's really super likable. And drama. Oh, what she must have been a prostitute. Dun dun dun. But who cares? Just they need more. They need more zombies earlier. But if you like slow burn movies, this is a slow burn movie, and for some people, that's just their pace.
Definitely is. There are some really bad day for night shots in this.
Oh yeah.
Well, that kind of
But there are zombie toes. You don't often get zombie toes.
Yeah. You're right. I did notice that. It's like, when the people do zombies, they often screw it up because they do all kinds of cool makeup on the face, and then the hair looks perfect. He's using shampoo with papaya extract or something, or his arms stop at a certain level. You can see where the makeup stops.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never really see the shoes or the toes, and we do in this one, and they are seriously gnarly, which
zombie toes
makes sense. They ought to be gnarly, and they are.
Yeah.
When he was alive, he was 7.5 feet tall, according to the way his pants were at the bottom, dragging behind him.
Well, when you die, your legs,
everything shrinks.
Size.
Everything shrinks.
Except for your fingernails.
All right, Jeff, when did you first see this movie? What was your first impression, and does it hold up today?
I'm picturing stuff shrinking. I gotta.
Oh,
okay. So
God,
it's gonna be one of those nights.
Somebody's job.
Innuendo. Look out!
All right. Yeah, everything you guys said is true. However, I wish he'd have been in it more, but I felt like John Carradine actually had a role, and I liked his lines and I liked his part and stuff like that. I didn't like that he got killed, but that was kind of a cool. He got to really act, in that. I'm totally confused on the whole ghoul / zombie thing. I think I figured it out finally, but it surprised me in the end. My brother walked in on me while I was watching it when the blonde guy's trying to push John Ireland into the grave. And he goes, "Oh, so that's the bad guy?" And I go, "Well, not till now he wasn't." I
didn't get that either.
What came over him? Why? Anyway, we could hit that later. I like John Ireland. I like Faith Demure. She's been in some nice movies, and then hit the TV circuit pretty heavy in the 60s. And then popped up with this one. So I don't know. It's just weird. John Ireland plays such an ass
Yeah.
as a director that it's hard to get into him. He's like, at one point, he actually starts to show a little tenderness, and he clenches with, and that's the other thing. I don't know who the hell knows what the character names were, because they had there's the real name, the character's name, and then the character's name in the movie they were making. So I don't know who they were, but anyway, he's going to give her a nice loving kiss, and then she goes, "Oh, but I have to find the cat." Screw the cat, and he stomps off. I'm like, geez, I haven't seen anybody get. You got really horned up there, buddy, and.
Wait, I can get him afterwards.
Yeah, he needs some medications. What he needs.
Yeah, something. So anyway, I don't know. And then it was kind of interesting. I don't know about you, but I've never been around movies, so they actually put little parts of movie making in there with the guys plugging in with lights and doing weird. I don't know what you call the people that do that.
Key grip.
Grips, or whatever.
Best boy.
Yeah. Those
Fluffer.
Guys.
I don't know.
Fluffer.
Blood squirter. There was a little blood squirter.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies within a movie that starts out that you get like the first 2 or 3 minutes of it until you find out you're watching a movie. Because John Carradine goes, "That's not how it happened." Right in the middle of the scene. Anyway, I'm okay with it. It's zombies/ghouls. They move pretty slow, so and I'm confused about who killed who. I mean, apparently, whatever rituals they were saying blinded Faith Demure, because she shot that guy 5 times, and it was. I guess it was supposed to be dark enough that she couldn't tell who it was, but it was pretty obvious who it was. Wow. I don't know. I'm stopping.
So I thought I had seen this movie. I'd seen maybe the first 20 minutes of it. So apparently whenever I watched it, I didn't make it through it. I stopped and I can see why. This movie it will test your patience. It does take a while, but having, sit down with the intention of paying attention to it, I found myself enjoying it, but not for the reasons of the movie, but for the reasons of watching the movie and trying to figure things out. Like, is this supposed to be a comedy? So at some points it's kind of played like a comedy. They do like the 3 beat things, like going to the door 3 times or going, there's a number of things that are like set up like comedy gags, but yet it's not really funny at all. But yet I don't know. It's such a weird movie if you really want to dive into it and try to pull it apart, because it does feel kind of slapdash and happenstance. Some of the things don't make sense. There are some cuts that seem to be out of place, with the zombie walking across this wooden bridge. It doesn't make any sense. And then he goes back across the wooden bridge later, which makes more sense, but still doesn't make sense. The girl floating under. Great shot, but why is that even there? So there's some really strangeness in it, but at the same time, the performances, I liked all the actors. And even the cast and crew were obviously, well, I'm saying obviously, I could be wrong, but it felt like they were at the actual cast and crew, the actual crew. The crew people were actually the crew people of the movie. I felt like at times, like the ones that were screaming and got killed.
Yeah.
Because they were so bad. And then of course, when they have the shots of them actually putting the lights together and putting in the chords for the sound and all that, it's probably literally the guys that were on the film. I would imagine. Wouldn't make sense to hire somebody to come in there when you just put them on scene, right? Pay them a little extra. But but you're right. This movie isn't scary at all. The zombie isn't scary. And there's this one really weird scene that really made me question about what they were intending to do. And that's a scene where we're watching them film a scene in the movie within a movie where they're killing somebody, but at the same time the zombie's coming to life and killing John Carradine, and it keeps cutting back and forth, and it does. I don't think it doesn't play, I think, the way they intended it, or maybe it does and I'm just not getting it. But it's I found myself, it's a bad movie, but I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but John Carradine is really good in it. He actually, I think somebody said like he actually has a role, and I did like that. He actually is a part of the film. He's not like some character that is on the outskirts of it. He's the owner of the house that they're renting. He has all the backstories, and he spends quite a bit of time giving us at the beginning of the film, giving us all the exposition that we need to know about the 8 people buried out in the yard, or the 7 people buried out in the yard. There's we'll get to the why I said 8 in a second. That's part of the tagline. But there's 7 graves, of course, 7 corpses, and he does have like scenes with our lead, but not really too many of the other people, right? And then it just does some really weird things, like we were talking about the cat. And they're walking out there, and the cat's like literally out in the middle of everybody. You see the cat. The cat's right freaking there. Nobody else sees the cat. The girl screams, and they're like, "What's going on with her?" Everybody runs past the cat, and the cat, and it's just, I mean, and I'm sitting there screaming, going, "Freaking cat right there!" And I'm like,
okay. Setting up their equipment and all that.
I know, and the cat's, and I'm like, okay, there's something going on here that didn't quite translate, I feel like. So it'll be interesting to get into the discussion on this film, because I think it fails so spectacularly at what it's trying to do that it becomes interesting in an entirely different way.
Okay.
If you allow it to.
All right.
If you allow it to.
Well, that means it must be time for.
Oh boy.
I feel like I haven't done this in ages.
Taglines with Chad.
Taglines for whatever the name of this movie is.
By taglines, we mean tagline.
8 men in a little grave. 8 men in a little house. I don't know.
The House of 7 Corpses.
8 graves, 7 bodies, 1 killer. But he's already dead.
And that's been Tagline with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
I've really been loving the tagline section here lately.
The outro took longer than the
actual tagline. Wow. And that's because this movie didn't get a whole lot of posters. We got this one.
We got this poster, which really looks slapped together, boy.
It's bad. It's a bad.
You know what it looks like? It looks like somebody's Halloween display.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very
Was
green.
Home Depot around back then?
No. But it does look kind of.
So we got an interesting poster, bad fonts. Yeah, it's the 70s. I wonder where this at PG there's your warning sign right there. Rated PG.
So
well, to be fair, PG in the 70s meant a lot different than PG in the
But there's no nudity, right?
Nope.
Right? I didn't miss something.
No real blood.
And no real blood. Most of the blood was from the movie where they're stabbing him with a retractable knife and the guy squirting blood on him. So I was sitting there going, this really feels a lot like a TV movie. It wasn't for all the blood. And then I kept thinking, but it's not really.
I don't even think there was a lot of cussing, or am I just
I don't
immune
think so.
to it at this point?
That's why you had a zombie who normally, since George Romero are known for eating people, this zombie knows how to make a noose. He can choke people.
Okay.
And various dramediums like that.
This is part of what I'm talking about. If you pay attention, there's shit in this that they just kind of gloss over. he's recreating the original 7 murders.
Yeah.
Well, but you better have a damn good memory because they flash through those at the beginning faster.
Oh
than,
yeah,
Yeah.
very quick. Very.
you don't even
But-
know what's going on. They're just fade in, fade out montage.
What are you
then-
talking about? No, I mean, if you listen to John Carradine tells us
Yeah.
how each of the characters die in our opening exposition
Yeah.
dialogue from him.
Right.
And he literally, our ghost literally goes back and recreates each of those murders, taking a new, these new people as a substitute, and kills 7 of them.
But she shot the guy.
Well,
Not anyway.
But that's-
how
but
does
he's-
the ghost
the zombie
create that?
manipulated.
But he set it
them.
up. He set it
Yeah,
up.
it's a setup.
Now, I also want to talk about our guy. You guys mentioned. Okay, I'm saying that it's if you gotta really weave a long tagline to get not tagline, but a long red tape line to get that connection. But the ghost going up and down the steps, or the zombie, set it up with the guy to be shot instead of him. Anyway, the blonde guy that we talked about, like how did he become bad?
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of the film, he says, I'm the one that found this house, and he's the one that has the book. He's doing this all along for some stupid
Well, I thought at the
power
end,
reason. That's why he becomes bad, is because that's his objective.
I
It
thought at
just
the
turns
end
against him.
it was saying he was the guy that grave that John Ireland wiped away and read the guy's name. That's who that blonde was, like the reincarnation of, because he falls into the grave and then he crawls out as another ghoul. That's the second ghoul, right?
Right.
Others.
And then but he also goes after the girl to make him, to put her in the same tomb as him. And then when the rest of the grass pulls away, you see her name in there as well.
And how did she get in the water?
He put her in there. He was carrying her and he put her in because she has to drown. That's one of the murders, is that one of the characters has to drown. It's all there, but they don't weave it together.
He just looks down. There she is.
Looks down and she's floating by.
He's watching his work. He's watching his work. I know it's bad. They didn't do it right, but it's there.
For what reason? They didn't go into that at all.
I think you guys stumbled on it now. I didn't think about it, but it is to reunite with his wife. The ghost of his wife.
There is a scene in there where he was reading out of the book.
Bullshit, but it could be it.
And he looked like he was getting mesmerized or hypnotized or something by the book when he was reading it. So maybe
it feels like there's a couple of scenes missing. Like maybe they accidentally filmed night for day and everything got ruined. And
no, I think it's the case, Bill, of the writer thinking that that everything that's in his head is on the paper, but it's not. Right. And we've seen this. We've seen that a lot, right, Bill? Where
yeah, sure.
Like,
the director has very few credits, and the co-writer only has 2 credits.
Well, let's talk about.
They put everything they had into this one.
He's like, "Whoops, maybe I shouldn't be here," right?
Yeah, maybe.
Hard. Oh, so he does have a lot of credits as a writer, but what does he have as a director? He has 8 credits as a director, and this is his last. He did television from 55 to 61. Then in 74, he makes this movie, and that's the last thing he directs. But he's a writer all along, and he did write some episodes of HR Puff and stuff. Chad,
he's got 11 credits as a writer. I would.
Well, that's true. But I never said quantity. I said all along.
You said a lot.
Well, from 1950 to 1981.
He does have a lot of episodes of some stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's 1711. Yeah, he did 17 episodes of HR Pub and stuff. 11 episodes of a TV series of Dr. Dolittle. 2 episodes all in the family. That's kind of interesting. And then stuff after. But this guy is kind of a.
The Burt Park Show. Don't forget that.
Well, why would I want to remember it?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a musical show, so I doubt there was a story.
I'm just going to sit on the HR Puff and stuff and let that be it, because that kind of explains a lot. That never made any sense either, did it, Jeff?
Oh, not a lot. Well,
No, those were there was some serious drug usage going on. Whoever was writing that show.
I always like what Rob Zombie says: puff and stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is his only feature length credit. But he did direct an episode of Untouchable, but he was all in the late 50s. So apparently by 61 he gave up and turned to writing. Because then he was I don't know what he did. For 10 years he was gone. Maybe he went to jail. No, I'm just making that up. No,
Maybe he did drugs and wrote about it in HR Puff and stuff.
Ah! Oh my God. There's nothing on his bio. His bio is literally saying he's known for House of Seven Corpses, Dr. Dolittle, and Our Man Higgins, which I would put in HR Puff and stuff. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, as far as a director, he did 2 episodes of Coke Time, which I'm sure is a variety show sponsored by Coca-Cola. But
yeah, didn't think that one through.
It doesn't come off after anyway.
But his co-writer and also associate producer is only known for this film and a thing called The Pyramid that he wrote in 76, 2 years later, which is
The Pyramid.
I have no idea what it is. I'm reading it and I still don't know what it is.
Well, I'll tell you, 76 was around the time that they were publishing books and magazines about the mysterious power of pyramids, and you could buy pyramids and like store your razor blades in there because they would last longer because of the strange magnetic properties of the pyramid. It was copious amounts of.
Well, this is the description for his movie, The Pyramid. A young TV news reporter grows tired of commercial programming and decides to cover more positive stories. He is fired for his troubles and goes on a personal search for truth and beauty in the media, a voyage of consciousness for the you get the idea.
Huh?
Like, oh my God, really?
Oh wow. The synopsis put me to sleep. The movie would put me in a coma.
Do you guys hear the excitement in Doc's voice?
It is. I do.
I think he secretly likes this movie.
Well, okay. So let's just take 1 minute. What do we think of this director, his output in this film? In this film, Bill, was it, regardless of the editing and the weird?
No, it was okay. I mean, the problem isn't so much the directing; the problem is the script. But I think it's well lit and fairly well composed, and there's a few good shots here and there. Yeah, so it's not terrible. It's just that there wasn't enough story and characters and plot and dialogue to keep it going. But no, I think he put it together just fine. Just needed something more.
Well, and the acting feels like there wasn't very many takes.
No.
True.
Perfect.
True.
Yeah, but it's shot very well. But there are scenes like I think Jeff said it, where it feels like some scenes and parts of it look really good, and then there's other times that it looks like they're shooting through cheesecloth.
Through cheesecloth.
But there's lots of vibrant colors in there.
Yeah, there's some good color,
and it's like I said, it's shot very well. It just looks uneven and doesn't flow very well.
Yeah,
and it's probably because it's a feature length. They tried to make it a feature length, and there's not enough story to fill up the narrative.
Yeah,
and everything.
Well, and the movie they're filming, basically what you get out of the movie they're filming is she repeats a few rituals or incantations that the other guy finds in the book, and other than that, and then there's lots of stabbing going on with the retractable knife.
Yeah.
And the director yelling at people.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if they'd have started off reading the book at an earlier point in the movie and having the zombie kill people like every 10, 15 minutes to build the tension but instead they crammed it all into the last 10 minutes or so, it would have been a lot better movie.
But
They also
see,
should have had the half cat come back to life because that would.
Well,
have
there
been
you
genuinely
go.
Creepy.
Yeah.
You know?
But to be
Crawling along.
but to be fair, given his television background, it does feel like a television composition for this movie as opposed to a theatrical one.
Yeah.
Because we've reviewed a few television
Mhm.
made for TV movies here, and this plays more like a made for TV because it would have held. If it was made for TV, they would have held that back for the last act.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
zombies-
do that like you would
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, where it's throughout the entire film, right? You don't build it up like that. It's built differently. So it has that made for TV composition.
Yeah.
Mhm. The zombie's interesting too because look at where this movie falls. We just assume 70s movies, zombies or something, but Dawn of the Dead hadn't happened yet, right?
Right.
I mean, so all we have is Night of the Living Dead, Revive the Zombie, but then there's this long gap where there's not a whole lot of zombie movies being made, and the ones that are still kind of this old-fashioned, slow, not really a cannibalistic kind of thing.
They're scattered. They're a variety of
yeah.
them. You get some straight up voodoo zombies like Sugar Hill, but yet you do get some Romero-ish zombies like you do with
Don't Open the Window,
Manchester Morgue.
Manchester Morgue, yeah. That's a good one.
And then this one's kind of a cross between those two because it is a raised from the grave kind of dead walking.
Yeah.
But it's not a ghoul, but it's not really a voodoo zombie either. It's more of a
Ghost.
just
Yeah,
a
a
person.
ghost.
Yeah, more of a ghost. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just happens to crawl up out of the grave, which was a fun scene.
Yeah, it was.
One of the
I
better
love
scenes.
I love scenes of zombies coming out of the ground, and that was
He took a long time to push that hand through, but that's
Yeah.
always a good shot. That's always a shot that I've found
mhm.
fascinating.
I
I've
love
actually had
when
myself
he
buried alive to achieve that shot in a movie. Yeah.
Brave soul.
And, yeah, that wasn't fun. That was actually not fun at all. And we're
I
just
wouldn't think
talking
so.
maybe a foot of dirt, like not a whole lot. Dirt is heavy.
Do you have
I'd
a
hate to have
tube or
to-
something?
We had a pile of leaves and yeah, we sort of had an air hole put in there. It was not really well thought
Sorta.
out.
sort of. I sort of didn't suffocate.
Don't worry, we're gonna have an air tube. Cover his head up.
I love the scene where he kills John Carradine. I mean, and Carradine is just that's like his that's a great scene for him.
Mhm. I like when they find him later too, because he's kind of crouched up, and then they say put his head up so they can look at him, and then he falls down onto the ground.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great choice. Yeah, okay. So let's move on to our lead, John Ireland here.
I really
and,
like this guy because he's in one of my favorite, maybe my favorite non-horror film, Spartacus.
Spartacus.
He played Crixus, the gladiator. He was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of
Because-
great stuff.
And
Because
here's
he
a
was
few.
nominated for best supporting actor for his role in All the King's Men.
Oh
Yes,
yes, that's
he
right.
was.
Yes.
And we did Incubus on 80s.
Mhm.
That's right.
Which is the one I was thinking of. I knew we did one not too.
Now
too
he
long
made
ago.
a lot of crap too. Guyana Cult of the Damned and Satan's Cheerleaders. Holy heck, that's some subpar stuff. But man's got to eat.
He played two members of the Clanton gang in two different Tombstone movies. One, My Darling Clementine, he played Billy Clanton, 1946, and in Gunfight in the OK Corral, that has Burt Lancaster in 1957, he played Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo.
Well,
And he was also-
Johnny Ringo.
He did an episode of Thriller and Alfred Hitchcock. He did a movie which I have to see. I have not seen. I Saw What You Did in 1965, directed by
William Castle.
William Castle.
Ah,
That stars
Ooh.
Joan Crawford and Leif Erikson alongside John Ireland.
I've never seen that movie, but I've wanted to because I think the premise is pretty cool.
And then he did a whole batch of spaghetti westerns in the late 60s
Oh, we need to do that.
and a few in the early 70s. I mean, and Doc, an episode of
Planet of the Apes.
right on cue. He was a good buddy of Robert Mitchum's, and he did Farewell, My Lovely, the
Oh wow.
based on the Raymond Chandler book in 1975. he was in that, and Robert Chandler had the lead, or Robert Mitchum had the lead in that. So anyway, that's my spiel on John Ireland. I like him just because he's in tons of westerns. He usually plays a bad guy, but hey, what can you say?
He's definitely he's not the villain of the story, but he's definitely not the hero either. Even though he's our lead, he's the.
It's pretty unlikely.
You want to see him. You want to see him get his comeuppance at the end.
Yeah.
He's in a movie called Terror Night in 1989. Have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
Terror Night.
With a K or just an N?
And Terror Night stars Cameron Mitchell and Alan Hale Jr.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that explains a lot. I haven't seen it. In the 80s? Oh my gosh.
89.
Terror Night. Wow.
Oh, and he plays Lance Hayward, a silent movie star, appears as various characters, killing quite a handful of unfortunates using various weapons. And that's John Ireland's character. So anyway.
Okay.
And Andre de Toth filmed some of it.
Yes.
And the guy behind House of Wax.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
The one-eyed guy who made 3D movies.
Probably the best 3D movie out there, right? From the 50s, anyway. Interesting. Interesting. What do you? Well, I thought he was great in this because you certainly get him as the bossy shit director. That's, and also he's horrible with his actresses.
Oh,
there was some cringeworthy dialogue.
It's
like, oh my God. All right. Do we want to move on to Faith? Sure. How do you pronounce her last name again?
Demure.
Sure.
Nice French.
Yeah. Thank you. I like her, but look at these movies that she was in.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen The Atomic Man, but This Island Earth, Cult of the Cobra, which is one of my favorite posters.
Came from Beneath the Sea.
It came from Beneath the Sea. Yeah.
Voyage to a Prehistoric Planet.
Oh yeah, she was in the inserts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the standards, 2 episodes each of Perry Mason, Bonanza, Have Gun Will Travel, and Hawaiian Eye. And she made a really nice film noir called Where Danger Lives.
Robert Mitchum?
I think so, yes.
And she's well cast for this role. She's an actress. She was, a beautiful young ingenue, and now she's reached a certain age. She's still attractive, but in Hollywood, if you're 40, you might as well be 60. So, so I think she plays that well. That this role is beneath her, but the roles aren't coming fast and furious. So
they do give her a chance to get some empathy from the audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though she's still not even so, she's still not a very likable character.
No, she's not really.
But at the same time, you kind of feel why, right? You there's a point where, because she wants to leave, and he gives her that really horrible dialogue to her about.
Oh yeah, she's awful.
And then she cries, but you feel you at that point you understand who she is, which is pretty good for this kind of movie. That they actually hit that
they actually have some characterization. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, we'll move on. John Carradine. What can we say about John Carradine?
I just found here's 6 movies I found from around that time. I mean, because the man, isn't he like maybe the record for the most roles in film, or he's definitely up there. This guy did so much stuff, but this was at the time when these were pretty small roles, a lot of them. Even a big budget movie like The Sentinel, his role is very short, but he's got a presence. He's got an amazing voice. He's still got those piercing blue eyes. I thought he looked pretty good in this movie. Some of these movies you see him and he looks disheveled. Like they just rolled him out of bed with a hangover, filmed his scenes, and then let him go back to bed.
Yeah, this one he looked pretty healthy, and
especially
when he had the overalls on and like a plaid shirt or something when he was out in the barn talking to the main guy. He looked. I think the beard helped that look. I think made him look.
Yeah, and well, he had a good haircut. I don't know why I noticed, but his haircut really suited him.
Yeah.
He looked just a little more robust than he does.
Yes.
In some of
Yeah. No, I thought that too. That he looked better. Because it's been a while since I've seen vampire hookers. And I remember reading some interviews with him when he was still alive, and boy, you got to feel for the guy, because they hear these people coming and interviewing him and they just want to talk about Billy the Kid versus Dracula. And he's like, how about the Grapes of Wrath? How about some of the good movies that I've been in? But it's interesting how your legacy, these crap films are actually the ones that have lingered.
That's a good way to put it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you, but we've done a bunch of them. And classic here, etc. We did Bluebeard. Then on 80s, we did the Boogeyman. Remember, he was a psychiatrist or something in there.
Dracula
that movie.
We did Howling. I'm sure you did the Howling, right? So
yeah.
Nope. Well, it was on before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he's in the
Billy
Howling.
the Kid versus Dracula, House of Dracula, Frankenstein's Island. And then he had bit parts in a lot of the old Universal ones: the Black Cat, the Invisible Man, Invisible Invaders,
Bride of Frankenstein.
He's got that one. Yeah, it's but because
if you blink, you miss him in the Invisible Man. He was
but his eyes. I mean, he just had this intense look. He was really good.
Half Human. The Toho movie, he did the Americanization of it.
Oh God,
he tells the whole story.
Raymond Burr before Raymond Burr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think he makes. If you don't have Bela Lugosi, I think he makes a great Dracula, though. I mean, obviously,
he did too.
You want Christopher Lee, but I think for the Universal films.
He's very distinguished in House of Dracula, I think.
Yeah. Like when he comes back to life when they pull the thing. There's some great stuff in there. I mean, yes, he would do a lot of films, and the films that he got to actually shine in, acting wise, are unfortunately few and far between of those films. But like you said, there's plenty of those to talk about.
Definitely not Blood of Ghastly Horror, which is an Al Adamson movie. And that's all you need to know.
I think The Grapes of Wrath was one of his.
Sure,
a good feature one too. That he was had a pretty good part. But if you want to see a really good performance from him, watch Bluebeard. He's the lead.
He actually is really, it's pretty strong. Although I would say that his Billy the Kid versus Dracula, there's something to that the title and the shenanigans of the film kind of wash away. But when we reviewed that, I was really impressed with his take on that.
Yeah.
He's fun in it. He's fun. But it's a William one-shot Bodine joint, so you're not going to get high quality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's always fun. Now, if you want to see a bad performance, well, I can't say it's a bad performance. He was dead at the time. Frankenstein Island.
Oh my God.
Literally, I think he would show up at these people's house. They'd slip him a couple of bills and some booze. They'd film a bunch of random crap. And then they
say the power.
Yeah,
the power.
The power. What is this for? It's like, never you mind what it's for. I haven't written the script yet, but years later, long after he was gone, he makes Frankenstein Island. Let's just, hey, you know what? I've got some footage of John Carradine saying the power. Yeah, put it in.
It's weird because it's almost like that in Invisible Invaders. He's just like off. I'm trying to remember the part, but I felt like he wasn't really there. He was anyway.
But the way they present him, you always feel like he's in the house, even though he's not on screen. Because one of the things I thought they did a real good job of him, directing wise, is the way they introduced him. Because he's an entire floor above them, so there's this contrast of location and setting and angles. And then if you notice, I found this interesting, is that the lighting on him from that point until when he opens the door into the first bedroom, he's always in shadow. Like, we're not supposed to know who he is. Obviously, we know who he is because you don't see a full shot of him until he opens the door and he walks in, and you get. I think it's the shot at the top there, perhaps. But
which was a pretty good shot, I thought, of him at the top of that stairs and everything.
It was in focus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the camera work. I thought the camera work.
I know. I'm teasing. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, the way they used the 3 stories in that big staircase really worked.
He looks like a young or an older Hugh Jackman in that top from Logan.
Oh wow, that's kind of a frightening idea. All right.
Yeah, in Invisible Invaders, he gets whacked by an atomic beam or something and turned to dust
whacked by an atomic beam
after a few seconds of screen time.
Johnny got whacked.
The atomic beam. All right, so there's the blonde. I think somebody mentioned the blonde is Carol Wells. Anything we want to say about her? Because somebody said you thought she was the best actress outside of Caretaker.
I thought she was.
I thought she did a really good job, but the only thing I could find that I recognized was she had a recurring part in National Velvet, which was a late 50s TV show.
Oh, the movie?
Based on the movie. Little girl and a award-winning, prize-winning horse or something. I don't remember, but she was one of the friends. So she was in 58 episodes. So, but other than that, I didn't see.
Yeah. She she does have the challenge of being able to float under that wooden bridge and keep her eyes open underwater.
Oh yeah, that was a tough chore too.
Which she blinks. I don't know if you saw her, but she blinks.
She was clearly alive.
It's kind of like out of the corner of her eye. She's like, "Oh no, the water's coming up. Oh, the water's coming up."
With the one arm up.
Is Charles Mulcahy is Christopher the blind guy? Because from here we don't have any pictures.
Charles Macaulay is the guy who was quoting Shakespeare periodically.
Oh, so he's so he's the actor. He's the actor the highfalutin actor that
took the nosedive off them.
Yes.
And he actually played Dracula in Blackula.
What?
Wait a minute. What?
What?
What? Oh
Say
wow. I loved his Dracula in Blackula. I think he's one of the best Draculas ever because he's a jerk. He's a ace high jerk.
Oh my God, he is. He's in the Twilight People too.
Yep. Twilight People. He did a couple episodes of Star Trek, and he played the president in Splash, which I don't even remember when the president's in Splash, but
I don't remember that either.
Creature from the Haunted Sea. Sorry.
Creature from the Haunted Sea. Well, they give his character far more scenes than the character deserves. Like the whole thing about him going up the steps and turning around. There's like one guy left on set. And he turns around and he does the whole thing. I mean, they're building his character. And this is kind of why I think it feels more like a TV movie than a theatrical film. It's built that way.
Yeah, it's like he always ends a scene with a Shakespeare quote as he's walking up the stairs or leaving the room or whatever.
But he's another character they try to get you to sympathize with. You know, you get the idea that he's also an aging actor, and he obviously is wearing a wig and a mustache, trying to look much younger than he is.
That all went down the toilet with the sexual assault.
Well, then there's that was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, that was where the cringeworthy dialogue comes in. We're like, well, you're dressed like. I was like, oh my God, I literally screamed out, oh my God. I was like, it's so cringeworthy. But okay, so I want to know who played the I don't even know what his name was. The character the blonde guy that ended up.
I think it was.
Was it David?
David. I think it's Jerry Strickler.
Jerry Strickler.
Because I think the two guys like Danny and Tommy, I think were the two crew characters. I think.
Okay.
Or maybe there was 3 of them. I don't know. But all these Beals, they were the people that were killed. ahead of time. And I thought, didn't the grave that they read off of, didn't that say David Beale? Do you guys remember?
It did.
Might be right. I didn't even think about that.
But he doesn't have, there's not even any pictures of him. And
yeah, this is his only film feature, and he was in a dozen different TV shows. 1 episode, 2 episodes.
He played Man in a segment of Night Gallery.
Played Man. And Smitty in a thing called San Francisco International Airport. What? There was a TV show called the San Francisco International Airport?
Well, yeah.
This movie was released theatrically in Charlotte, North Carolina on December 12, 1976.
Charlotte. Somebody had to take that hit.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, let's take a look at some of the air quotes scary stuff. Top is the zombie makeup, which is again, if it was a TV movie, we'd be fine with it. But a theatrical film, it's just a hair shy of being good, right?
Yeah.
There's our guys. I like that they were shoved into a coffin together. It was just there was something kind of interesting about that.
And their eyes were frozen open.
Yeah.
It looks like they just got caught doing something bad.
Something bad.
But I got the impression from that scene where you have pictured there in the middle with them in the coffin. Well, we can't tell they're in the coffins because it's so close on their heads, but they're in a coffin. And when they actually die, because they die side by side, they're having so much freaking fun. They're having the times of their lives. I feel like they were having a good time.
What are you thinking about?
Okay, the scene at the bottom.
Yeah.
Where Faith is doing an incantation in her red dress.
Right.
What the hell was the deal with that thing in the middle of the circle, and then she's stamping on it at some point?
It was the zombie.
It was.
It was very bizarre. What was he shouting? Get out, go.
It was a post-production special effect that somehow we were seeing as it was being filmed.
It's actually that top picture there. That's what showed up in that circle.
Oh, is it? Because I couldn't really tell what it was.
Oh, really? That's what showed up in the circle, the top picture?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because, I guess that kind of makes sense. It's supposed to be kind of giving you an idea of what's to come.
But how would people making the movie know that, though?
But they don't.
That's what I'm saying. They don't know what it would. So why would it show up there, the exact same monster that shows up at the end of the movie?
Because it's...
Make it make sense for me.
Yeah. That's the reason why it's there.
Somebody said having her stomp in that empty circle looks stupid, so let's put a face in there.
Stomp in an empty circle. But it was strange. It was strange, but it's literally the first 5 or 10 minutes of the film, so it's so out of context that you don't even know what the hell's going on, so it doesn't really matter. But I think it was supposed to be foreshadowing.
I love the way the closed captions dealt with the incantation she was saying.
Mm-hmm.
No, really, what did it say?
I couldn't even read the closed captioning.
Well, half the time it would say foreign language,
Yeah.
But other times they on YouTube it was trying to what is it? What do you call that? God dang it. Voice recognition. It was trying to decipher the words, but it was just a mess. Anyway.
When I was watching it and Faith DeMerg, whatever her name is, and the blonde lady were talking, and she was saying some of the incantations. One of the captions read, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo."
That's funny.
I almost died laughing. What's it say? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
No doubt.
If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's for all you Little Rascals fans.
So this thing's out there. You can get it on YouTube. It's on Screambox. It's on Tubi, I think.
How do we explain the ending? Because this one I watched on YouTube just showed him carrying her away over the wooden bridge, And then
you have to watch a different movie, a different version of it to get the rest of it.
Okay, because I didn't get the whole film.
She carries him.
they-
Yeah, he carries her to the grave.
Yeah,
And then
and
they
they-
do some weird stop motion behind the credits because or freeze frame, I should say. He goes to get to step into the grave carrying her, and a list of credits come up, and it freeze frames.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when the credits go off, he goes farther into the grave, and then another list of credits come up and it freeze frames.
Yeah. And then some of the leaves and grass pull away and reveal the girl's name underneath his.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
I was annoyed by that. It's like, no, there's more of this movie. That can't be the end. They didn't do any credits or anything, and I went searching and found another version of it.
Yeah, I watched it on
Fast forwarded to the
Screenbox.
end.
Now, I'm going to tell you, there is a Blu-ray from Severin. I do not own it.
I was going to
Only
say, you need to sever in ties with all these Blu-ray companies.
I just don't know. I swear I looked to see if I could get it, and I couldn't find a copy of it. And then all of a sudden, there it was.
All of
And
a
it's
sudden,
11 years old, so it's not a new release. So I don't know.
all of a sudden, Bill is frozen.
And then still have it in stock.
Am I frozen? Dang
You are
it.
frozen. You are frozen, but we're good. Yeah. You want to hop off and come back on?
Yeah.
You gotta
All
shut
right.
some windows.
There you go.
That's-
Jesus.
That's my favorite part of the show.
What's that?
I
When
never
Bill
Bill
know.
freezes.
When Bill
I look
freezes?
at him and go,
We should make a graphic for that. Every time he freezes, we play the graphic of Bill.
All right.
Frozen.
Well, while Bill's away, we're gonna. That's pretty much it for what we have to say about this film. I don't know if there's anything else really to say. There's not much out there about this film.
Yeah.
If you guys saw me fudging around behind me, I was looking at my '70s book. I have this. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this book here.
Yes, sir.
huh?
Here, that's you. Let me do me. This book here. And I can't find it in there, but I might be able to find it if I dug deeper, because who knows when it's actually listed, because sometimes movies get
Well,
listed
somebody
on different
hold
days.
up. Hold a mirror under Bill's nose.
But yeah, there
I'm
you go.
all right.
Okay.
And but anyway, I can't find a whole lot of anything about this film. It doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
it
too many
seems
people
like
are talking
a
about it.
regional movie, like one of those regional movies they made and just got shown in a couple drive-ins and then got shoved into a basket somewere.
It was okay. It's not the most horrible thing.
No,
I've
it's
ever
not. It's
seen.
not terrible. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's just it came out at a weird time, the 70s.
Well,
70s.
74 is pretty bad to try to sell this kind of horror movie after The
Yeah,
Exorcist
yes.
hit in 73 during Christmas. So yeah, Hammer, it's more akin to like early Hammer kind of gothic-y kind of slow burn films, and those were, as we know, are
Those were on the way out.
yeah. Now, but it would have worked on TV. That's again, I'm going to go back. This feels like it should have been a TV movie.
It's
And
kind of like if you were making a science fiction movie in 76, 77, and I think we did a pretty good job. And then you go out, oh, there's a new movie show in Star Wars. You go to see that and you're like, well, bleep, because your movie now looks like it's 10 years older than it really is.
Yeah. And there's probably examples of just that out there. So, but anyway, there's the film. Let us know what you think about it. Give us some comments about your experiences with this film. I'm sure somebody out there knows about this film, or maybe they don't. Maybe this is just one of those films everybody just kind of goes, I don't know. But I still, Chad, enjoyed our visit. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.
Cool. Cool.
All right. Jeff, sir, do we have feedback?
We have just a couple.
Just
Oh,
a-
Jeff, you got your Marx
Mother.
figures.
Got
I
my
see.
what?
Your Marx Universal figures.
Oh, I did get those a little while ago. I just put up some shelves so I could put that stuff up.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
It was a pretty good deal. The shipping was a little high, but some guy in Mexico bought the molds from
Now
Marx,
he's
I
making them.
guess.
Remember the Marvel ones, Doc?
Hmm.
The little red plastic figures.
Somewhat.
Show him one, Jeff. He'll know.
But
what
no,
I'm
I
talking
do remember those, but I never really got into those, so I didn't get them.
Well, this reminds me of all the, I had army men and dinosaurs like
Yep.
this.
Me too. They were great.
Yeah, the guy had them on. It was, I don't know where I saw them. They were like $25 or $30 for 6. $30 for 6, and I thought, well, I'm going to take a chance and order it, and it was you paid with PayPal, so there wasn't like I wasn't really worried about them stealing or doing anything with my credit card number. But then the shipping was $25
Oh, wow. Double up on the shipping
from Mexico. But that's still, I'm glad. My wife's, I now have my toys up, you know.
There you go.
All right. So we have feedback. First one, episode 220, Snow Beast.
Snow Beast. Oh, no.
Kathy Chapman is back again. Chad, you want to take
Does
that?
that mean I have? Oh, yeah, it was mine. Yeah. Kathy says, just watch Snow Beast. From the pandemonium in the gym with everybody running and screaming and not knowing what they're running from, to Car's midnight ski trip to the barn. This movie is so bad, it's fun. I did read about how cold it was when filming this, and I got to hand it to the actors for their dedication. Keep the gems coming and the germs.
The gems. The germs.
The germs from that sneeze. You keep that to yourself.
Thank you.
How high'd your cat jump?
Appreciate that.
Nah, she's used to it.
And then episode 227, The Stone Tape from Eleanor C. I believe we figured out, didn't we? The Czech Republic.
Oh.
Tell Eleanor, not the Stone Tape.
The Stone Tape. Go ahead and do it.
All right. Eleanor C says, hey guys, thanks for recommending this one. I really enjoyed watching it. I love these British Christmas ghost stories, especially the shorter ones from A Ghost Story for Christmas anthology. But this one slipped past me. By the way, Jeff, there is good news for your Blu-ray collection. The cover art you all liked is from an upcoming Blu-ray that will be released December in the UK.
I saw that.
I appreciate that, Eleanor. I'm so glad you got my back. I happened to stumble across that just like a few days after, because on the podcast I said if this had a Blu-ray, I'd buy it. And just a few days later, I saw it. I think Facebook must have heard me and put an ad up or something, from 101 Films, and I think it comes out December something, and it has been ordered, Eleanor. It has been ordered.
It's a nice looking cover. It's the greenish cover, I think.
It's got a lot of it's the one I put on the image. So thank you, Eleanor. Always great to hear from you. And lastly, for Bill, from Jerry Chandler.
Jerry Chandler, and it's always a wall of words with Jerry here. Jerry Chandler says of the Stone Tape, I love the Stone Tape. And that's all there is.
Is he okay?
Is he or something? I gotta give him a call.
Nars.
Well, I think he sent us a message. I probably should have read all that, but he sent us a big long message that I just remembered now. I forgot to copy it over, but where he was telling us that we should watch The Stone Children, which was a British series. That's all. The entire thing is on YouTube. It's somewhat similar.
How old is Jerry? Because he can't be old enough to have watched all the movies that he says he's watched and still be under the age of 100.
He's a fine broth of a lad. I'm thinking I don't know for sure. I can't do people's age, but I think Jerry's in his early 40s.
Yeah, he looks like he's in his early 40s.
Yeah.
But I was just making more of a comment on his ability to watch every single thing ever created everywhere.
He's got all that time cruising around in his car to watch movies.
Oh my. Yeah, there you go.
Jerry, they're shooting. They're shooting. I'm almost at the end.
Wait a minute. They're shooting.
All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Please send your feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com or make comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel or visit our Facebook channel, Gruesome Magazine. Whatever. Gruesome Magazine, HNR and DOH podcast Facebook group.
We got to change the title. Also, if you're a fan of this and you're watching it and you've listened this far, we presume you are. If you're a patron, we are doing the entire series for patron only of Kolchak, the Night Stalker. And it's been a lot of fun. We are, as far as the recording of them, we are winding down the last 5 or 6 at this time. And what a great time it has been. And It's been a blast revisiting that show, and looking forward to what other show we might revisit after that. And if you have any,
please,
yes,
not Planet of the Apes.
Manimal.
No. Well, that would be a short visit.
Yeah,
I think there's only like Manimal,
Anyway.
not Manimal. Get out of here.
Manimal.
All right. Our next episode is Bill's pick, and we have a guest host coming on, Jeff Farley. And the pick is this is one that we're revisiting. What is it, Bill?
It is the classic no budget but big ambition movie Equinox.
Now, did we?
Jeff Farley is possibly the greatest fan of that movie that could possibly be imagined. And when I talked to him, he's like, "You should have had me on." It's like, we should have had you on, and now we will.
He lives in a van.
Now, did we do the? Damn, whatever. Did we do the original on the 70s? Because you could also do this one in the classic era because it kind of has
I think we did
time frames. All right.
Yeah, we did it. We did it in the 70s. I'm trying to remember. I want to say 4 years ago, but maybe not that long ago. I don't know.
It'll be nice to get some.
Well, because I had some
there.
questions about some of those effects that were.
Yeah.
Sure he knows more about it than we do.
Jeff's the guy to talk to because not only does he love the movie, but he's also
4 years ago
effects person in his own right.
Let's see, episode 124.
Wow.
And we should all go listen to that. Let's see. And that was released in October 2020.
Where's it playing these days?
You know what? There's I think it has to be on YouTube. It's been on Max forever, but it just dropped off of that.
I believe it is.
But there
I believe
is
a good copy is on YouTube.
Somebody's uploaded the Criterion copy to YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Catch it while you can.
So
Yeah, no kidding. Again. All right. Well, that will be our next episode in 2 weeks. We come and join us then. Until then, Chad, Jeff, Bill, thank you for joining me.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
sir.
Thank you. Always fun. That was more fun than I thought it would be.
With that, let's say goodnight.
Go, John Carradine.
Good night. Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.